Hi, Louise Singleton here. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this lovely thistle picture using iron filings, magnets, resin and alcohol ink. I really hope you enjoy the video. Stay tuned. Today I'm very excited because the lovely Jules Madison and I have decided to do a collaboration. My first ever collaboration. I feel very honoured because Jules is such a super talented artist. She's got lots of videos on her channel with ranging from fluid art to sculpture. She's kind of like me in a way. She likes to try out lots of different things. So you really need to follow the link in the description and go and check out her channel. So Jules had seen some of the artwork I'd been doing with iron filings and magnets, and so she decided to get herself some. She's bought all the gear and she's ready to have a go. So we're both going to be doing a project at the same time. I can't wait to see what she does. We've decided to work with the magnets and iron filings to make flowers, and we're using resin as well. So those are the only rules really. So I really don't know what she's planning, but yeah, it's going to be exciting. So I hope you enjoy the video, and it's quite a long one. So what I'm going to do is in each section I'm going to put the numbers for you to fast forward to for the next section, in case you don't want to watch all of each part, because it needed to be quite a long video this time because there's just so much that needs to go in it. Okay, so feel free to fast forward. Enjoy! I recently purchased this really lovely picture from a charity shop for 25 pence. Can you believe that? 25 pence for a picture in a big frame like this. And I've decided to use this frame and the glass. I'm going to keep the picture because it turned out it was actually an original painting. It's not just a print, it's a real painting. So I've taken the painting out and put it safe. And yes, I'm going to use my 25 pence picture frame and paint it black and use the glass for my artwork today. Okay, let's get started. So here we have my glass from the frame, and I've put some cardboard behind it and drawn out a very, very rough and scribbled it's not very good, I've made a mistake, a rough plan of where I want everything to be. If you see here, I've drawn a rectangle. That's because I'm using the mount board that was already in the frame. I want to put that in front of the glass, kind of the opposite way around as it should be. And so this is where my picture will end. So that's why I've drawn that. And I've got my stems here, and these are just normal garden wire, which see that's the normal colour, like a silver colour, and I've sprayed them green, and I'm just going to stick those on with super glue. Now I don't know how I've managed it, but I've lost one of my magnets and I'm gutted. So I've lost one of my thistles. I've decided to lose that thistle, but hopefully it will still be lovely. So I need to start super gluing, and I've got my latex gloves on because I always stick my fingers to something if I don't. Okay, the thing is, this doesn't have to be perfectly stuck down because I'm going to be putting some resin over it shortly. It's just to get it to kind of stay still while I put the resin on. And I will repeat that until they're all on. Right, I'm going to give that a couple of minutes to dry. Then I'll see if I can just get rid of that glue that went on the glass. I don't like that. If you watched my other thistle video, you will have seen me make some of these. I made these out of polymer clay and baked them in the oven. And the polymer clay ones I did, let me find one. One of these is actually, this is one of the polymer clay ones. And I pressed it down on some string and then baked it and came up with this. So that ridge is perfect for just popping over the wire. But what I decided to do when I'd made quite a few of these, I made a silicone mould out of them. And then I can just make as many as I can really quickly in my silicone mould out of clay, like I have done here. So I made loads. Because it's quite time consuming making each one individually. So now I don't have to carve them all out each time. So anyway, I will leave a link at the end of the video straight to that video in case you want to find out how to make these. Okay, so I'm going to stick these on. I'll just make sure I've got them in the right place before I stick them on. Yeah, happy with that. I'll stick those on. Now, with the magnets, I will put a link in the description underneath as always. You have to excuse the mess of these magnets, they've got iron filings on them. So what these magnets are like is they've got a small hole on one side and a bigger hole on the other side. Now, obviously, you want the most magnetic area possible, so this side needs to be the bit that's facing upwards. And what I do, I keep them completely separate. I don't put them anywhere near each other because these guys, they're so strong, they're actually quite lethal. So if you decide to use some of these magnets, please, I know how dangerous they are because of the strength of them, but I still constantly trap my fingers between them and end up with little blood blisters. That's how strong they are. Be warned. Don't say I didn't warn you. So what I'll do, I might need to take these gloves off to go and do my head in. So be careful now because of the glass. What I'm going to do is, if you see, I don't actually want the whole circle. What I like to do is have a circle. It looks a bit more natural if this comes in front. Oops, it's not stuck down. If this comes the bract, I think it's a bract. Someone on my other video kindly looked it up for me and left it in a comment. I'm sure they said it's called a bract, this bit. Anyway, we'll check. Yeah, I like this bract to come in front of the flower so you're not getting the full dome of the flower. So that looks about right. Let's stick that on. I know what you're thinking, why didn't you stick the magnets on first? And there is a reason for that. There's a method in my madness, although next time I may do it that way. And it was because I wanted to see exactly where the stems and the bracts came up to, so that I got it just right. But it didn't really work out like that, did it? See, around here. I wonder if Jules is having the same problem with hers. Watch your fingers, Jules. I should have warned her, shouldn't I? Right. Turn it back. Stick those back on. All is not lost. Right, I'm going to let this dry for a couple of minutes and see you in a moment. Right, so it's time for the iron filings. I'll put my gloves back on. Oh, do you know, I'm just going to check I've pressed record. I've done it so many times where I've filmed everything and realised I haven't pressed record, so I haven't actually filmed anything. Let me just check. Oh yes, you're with me. Right, so we're using iron filings now, and I've said this before in other videos, but if you haven't seen my other videos you won't know. They're not really harmful as such, but you don't want to be breathing them in. So I'm just going to put my mask on, so I might be a bit muffled now. I would recommend goggles as well. I tend not to because I wear glasses anyway, so it's quite good protection from any powder that might fly around. The thing is, it doesn't fly around because it just goes straight on the magnet, but I want to show you it in a safe way, so there we go. Okay, I'm a bit muffled. So I've got my iron filings here, and what I did the first time I got these was I tried just pouring it on, but of course the magnets are so strong it pulls the whole lot out the bottle. So pour it into your hand. I need quite a lot because I'm doing lots of flowers. Got that much. And then sprinkle it on. And the magic happens. I love this bit. This is probably my favourite bit. The bit I've just done is my least favourite. That was so fiddly. Once you've got past that bit, you'll enjoy this project. But that bit was a bit of a pain in the bum. That one's got... do you see here? I've put the magnet on back to front there. Let's get rid of these. I'll sort that magnet out and get back to you. Right, so the magnet is now the correct way around, and now I'm just going to use this cocktail stick to push it all inwards, and as I'm going inwards like that, it makes it all stand up. This one needs a bit more. Obviously, you're always going to have a little bit of a gap in the middle with magnets that have got a little bit of a gap in the middle. But I still think it looks great, so I don't think it's a huge problem. I've got a little bit of an issue here. I've got two magnets really close to each other and they're fighting over the iron. They both want it. Right, bit more. You see, I haven't really used much. A little bit does go a long way. And my next step is going to be to cover this with resin. At that stage, what you can do is you can put your colour into your resin, but I'm going to do a clear coat of resin and then I'm going to use inks. I did try just using inks directly onto glass and it's an interesting effect, but I didn't like the way that the iron filings soaked up the ink. The colour became way too dense when you put ink directly onto your iron filings. I find, it's just me, but I find it works much better if you put your resin on, let the iron filings, you know, get nice and covered, and then when it's ready, then you can put your ink on. So I'm not going to faff around with it too much because once I pour the resin on, I'm going to have to do it all over again anyway. It was just to make sure I had the right amount of this my iron on. Can't get my words out. The right amount of iron on. Oh, there's my glasses gone. You see, this is the problem. So what I'm learning from this project is don't put your magnets too close to each other. But I'm sure it'll be okay. So there we go. Next step, resin. Right then, still all muffled because I've still got my mask on. I've got my master cast resin. I haven't got a great deal because I don't think it's going to take much, to be honest. And what I'm going to do is pour it directly onto the iron filings because they need to be completely coated, and I mean completely. For one reason is because obviously they need to be able to stand up by themselves when I take the magnet off, but the main reason is because it's iron, it's going to rust, so we need to block out the air and any moisture in the air. So that is why. No air, no water. So now I'm just going to tease this around again. Make sure it's all in there. Keep going inwards, it just helps it to stick back up. The weight of the resin will always make it collapse a little bit. Right, I'm going to apply some heat. Just going to use my craft heat gun because it's not too, doesn't get too hot. Don't want any glass cracking. Right, we need some more resin. I'll spread it around with my jumbo lolly stick. I love these lolly sticks. I always put a link to everything that I can link to. Sometimes it's things that I've had for years and years that I just can't find. But I always put links down below so you can go and have a look for yourself. Oh, we've got some iron filings in there. Right, now that I know that I'm in the area, I'll get rid of these. They were just so I remembered where I was. I do hope you can hear me okay. What I'm doing, I've turned this off so you can hear me. I find that for obvious reasons the resin gathers in these little areas. I'm trying to push the resin out of there because I want the stems to stand out from the resin. I don't want it to be too deep in places, so I'm really trying to push it out away from there. Okay, now time to get sticky. Just going to spread it out round the edges. Just so it's not a big puddle. We want the mount board when I put the mounting board on the top. We want it to be able to fit as flush as possible. But I don't want resin going over the edges, so there we go. Seems to have covered nicely. We have got some iron filings there, but it really doesn't matter. The ink covers everything up. Right, it's the next day and the resin has cured. Let's have a close-up look. Here are my flowers ready for some ink action. Oh, it's a bit blurry. There we go. There's my thistles already. And look how organised I am. All the lids are off. Don't know if I'm going to use all of these inks, but I've got them ready anyway. I've got my blending solution, my isopropyl alcohol, which is 99.9%. Got some in a little jar there as well. I've got my paint brushes, my pipettes, my little mini spray, which I love for my alcohol ink, some straws just in case, my airbrush, my goggles, because I've suddenly realised I'm probably suffering from contact dermatitis on my eyes, which is probably from the alcohol fumes. So I'm going to start wearing my goggles. I'm fine with resin, no problem with resin. But since I've started working a lot with alcohol inks, my eyes have got worse and worse and worse. So I've got goggles and also, where is it? A face mask. I've got my little cocktail sticks because they're sometimes handy, and my paintbrushes, and my lighting, and my messy craft room. And there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to narrate over the next part, because when I do anything with alcohol inks I tend to go round and round and round in circles before I get to where I want to be, and you don't want to sit for an hour, which is sometimes how long it takes me. You don't want to sit for an hour watching me take the scenic route from A to B. So most of it will be fast tracked, and where possible, where I can remember which coloured inks I've used, I will label the video with the ink colour as I use it, rather than talking through you it all now, because you'll just fall asleep and then you'll miss the main part. Don't want to miss the main part of the movie. So there we go, all organised, and I will see you in a tick. As you can see, I've started applying the inks now, and I'm making the clouds. And what I've done is I've added some blending solution and some of my blue inks, and just rocked it from side to side to start it off. And the rest, well, it's self-explanatory, so I'm not going to waffle on all the way through this. I'm going to play you some music so you can sit back and enjoy the video.
I know you feel like you want me, and I guess in a way you do. Holding my breath, unraveling emotions. I need some space to think this through. Call me all night long. Try to give you hints and a hard to see. Right on the line, no. Losing it on you's the last thing I need. If I'm honest, I'll just make you cry. And I don't wanna fight with you, I would rather lie to you. I promise, now's not the right time. Yeah, I don't wanna fight with you.
So as you'll have noticed, I opted for a stormy sky. I love dramatic skies, so that's what I wanted to get into this picture. And it's kind of trial and error really for me, because I'm still learning with alcohol inks, and it's one of those things, it's good to watch videos, but the only way you really learn the nature of it is to do it yourself. And every video I make I'm learning something new. I always add something I haven't done before, because that's how you learn, is to just keep trying new things. So that's what I'm doing here, learning the nature of the alcohol, and I'm really liking the way the stormy sky is progressing here.
I'm honest, I'll just make you cry. And I don't wanna fight with you. I would rather lie to you. I promise.
So the reason I added the purple to the sky, I mean, you can have purple in skies to make them dramatic, but there is another reason, and that's because it's the exact same purple I'm going to use in the thistles. And I really like to, if there's one colour that I want to stand out in a picture, I like to not just have it on the main part, I like to put it in the other parts of the picture here and there as well, just to marry everything together. So that's why I've put the purple in, because it's going to kind of go with the purple flowers. Oh, and also, while I remember, what you've seen me using to blow the ink around with, that's my airbrush, and I'm just blowing air through it with my it's attached to my compressor, and it can be a little bit strong and really blast the alcohol around a little bit too much. So sometimes I use the airbrush, sometimes I use a straw. If I just want it to be gentle, I use a straw, or the heat gun. It just depends on how much pressure I want to blow with, what I actually...
Promise, now's not the right time. Yeah, I don't wanna fight with you. I would rather lie to you. I would rather lie. I would rather lie. I don't wanna fight. I would rather lie to you. I'm honest, I'll just make you cry. Yeah, I don't wanna fight with you. I would rather lie.
I hope you're enjoying watching this picture come to life. I've got to say, I've really enjoyed making it. If you are enjoying the video, please hit the subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell, because then you'll get notifications every time I upload a new video. And why should you subscribe? Well, it's because my channel's the home of crazy ideas. I'm always getting brand new ideas that just come to me in the middle of nowhere. I'll be shopping and an idea comes to my head, just like the iron filing idea came to my head. Someone may have done it some other time, but I've never seen it. It just came and I thought, I'm going to try that, and this is what happened. I'm really pleased with these, actually, these iron filings. So anyway, I digress. If you love new ideas, please remember you need to hit subscribe. That's what I was talking about, wasn't it? Why you need to subscribe. So I've got all the green on now. Well, most of the green. I'll probably still keep adding some. And what I'm doing now is just adding some finesse. I've got the background colour in, and then what I like to do is just see what extra is needed and just add bits a little bit at a time and see how it's looking. And I've just added some ginger coloured alcohol ink, and I'm adding some brush strokes just to give that texture of the foliage in the background. It's not very good lighting, I'm afraid. I've got lots of lights shining on it to make it brighter, and then the problem with that is you get it reflecting off the glass, and that doesn't help. It's just the lighting in my room is really bad. It's such a beautiful day outside today, but I could not get the lighting right. So yeah, it's always a bit of a struggle with me. Now I'm adding the colour to the thistles. What I like to do is add a little drop of gold. I added too much on that last one and had to wipe it off. But never mind, a drop of gold, and then some passion purple, which is a pinata colour, and then I add a drop of alcohol and then blow it out with the heat gun or the airbrush or a straw. It's up to you. I try all different things just to see which one works best. It's bleeding out quite a lot there, look, and you just catch it with the paper towel. I like it to bleed out the edges because I love that effect, but sometimes it comes out too fast and too much, and you do need to just catch it and save the rest of your picture from being invaded by purple paint. And so there you can see it's all bleeding out nicely. I'm quite excited at the moment because I'm building my own website so I can start to sell my artwork. I do have an Etsy shop, but I've never actually sold anything on it because I got the shop ages and ages ago and never got around to putting anything on it. And then the longer I left it, the problem is, once I put the items for sale on there, it says that there's been no sales because I haven't used it, and people must think that my artwork must be rubbish, so they don't seem to buy anything. So I've decided to get rid of my Etsy shop and build my own website, and it will have a blog on there as well, and so everything in one place, and I'll put my videos on there. Yes, I'm quite excited about my website. So I decided I didn't really like that area that was there, so all I did was I put some alcohol on and just wiped it off. It's so forgiving working with alcohol inks. You can just wipe it off and start again. And that's what I've done there because it was just too much paint. Not paint, I keep saying paint, I mean ink. Too much ink there. So I wiped some off and I'm just adding some more faint ink there now instead, so it's not quite so much in your face. Did you notice there that I've taken my goggles off? I had to, they were making my glasses steam up. Couldn't see what I was doing. So yeah, the goggles did come off, I have to confess. And so now I'm just adding those last touches to the flowers to make them stand out a bit more. And I'm using, I'm not sure, what do you call them? Some people call them Q-tips, just to dab the paint around. It's those things you use to clean your ears. There we go, look. I'm just dabbing the paint around so you can control it a little bit better with something like that. You don't always want to be just dropping it off and blowing it and hoping for the best. Sometimes you want a little bit more control. So that's what I'm doing there. So we're almost finished. Just adding those last little finishing touches. What I'm going to do, as soon as the ink's all dried, I'm going to add another clear coat of resin on the top just to protect it all. And then tomorrow it'll be ready to photograph and show you and put in the frame. I'm looking forward to seeing it with the mount board in front of it, framing that rectangle that I wanted it to frame. Can't wait for that. So yeah, that's your next thing. So stay watching. I know you've been sat there watching for ages, but stick around a few more minutes just to see the finished result. Here we have it, all finished and framed with that mounting board put on the front. And I am so pleased with this picture. And as usual with resin, you can't really capture its beauty in a photograph. It's so much better in real life, and especially on the glass. The glass just gives it such extra vibrancy somehow. I just love it, and I can just tell that this is going to be the first of many because I'm addicted. So whilst I've been creating this piece, Jules has been busy in her studio in America with iron filings and magnets to have a go herself, and I really can't wait to see what she's made. There is a link in the description, and if I manage to work out how to do it, there will also be a picture link right at the end in a few seconds for you to click on. I've never done that before, so we'll see if it works. If not, click the link in the description and go and have a look. So what do you think? Please leave me your thoughts in the comments below and let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts on this one. I wonder if you'd like it as much as I do. And I wonder if you're going to have a go yourself. Let me know. On the left is my video with the thistles where it shows you how to make the bracts like I told you about before. And in the middle, click my photograph if you would like to subscribe. And on the right, that's Jules's video. Please go and watch it. See what she made. It's sure to be